be a public
Right.
sort of. So in terms of us like working through those kinks, I don't think that should be something public facing, not because I don't think people should hear it, but one, because if we are trying to get people engaged and try to advocate for agency and participation amongst the group, and then putting them in a position that they cannot advocate or participate because it's still so internal facing, it just does, it's not fair to those that join, expecting to have their voice heard or to participate in goals that we've outlined. But then, as an example for the resource sharing tool, we're still talking about different ideas and things, and that's not something that is like, hey, we're going to present to the group, anyone who joins today but that's a very different environment than saying, today we're going to present on the tool sharing, platforms or whatever that we've come across. We're going to share some of the ways that you can fill out the form, that you can fill out your thing, and then we'd like feedback on these options. That is externally facing into the community, like you were saying, but the working stuff feels too internal, that it's a disservice to their time and value. And so the other thing I wanted to say on this of the acre workshop, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but we didn't. But now that we do know, I still wish that Homegrown Hillsborough could give us to our March date that we set to work through the foundational elements of our goals. And then let's start the acre process. Because right now, what I think it feels like, at least to me, is that, we're progressing with these conversations, talking offline, doing this, doing that, working on the grants, and now there's another problem we're trying to solve, but we haven't gotten to solve the first one yet. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's just too preliminary to do the acre, to reevaluate when we've already set a deadline. To me, that is like, okay, well, let's say after the acre training, we establish our plan forward, and then all of a sudden in the middle, to me, it's too reactionary, I think. Like
premature.
Premature, like reaction to like maybe the lack of engagement. Maybe the lack of engagement is because of just the dynamic we've created with our internal workshopping and people not feeling like they can participate. But that simple suggestion of let's workshop and then let's go out to the group with it. Let's workshop, let's go out to the group with it, would be such a different respect for participants' time. Okay. And, so if the engagement's our problem, maybe we spend one of our sessions internally saying, hey, like that suggested very, very, to me, seems really reasonable. But to go through an entire acre workshop and forget about all the things.
I would say we're not forgetting about all the things.
No, I know, but
definitely keep the stuff we've already done.
I know.
Part of it.
But that's how it feels.
Momentum. It kills what we're currently in the process of working on. Because now I'm looking at the slide, and I'm going to leave it alone so we can move on. But I'm looking at it, and I'm like, and then once we're done with the acre, or partway through the acre, is the conference, which is another pause, stop, da 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 da. We're going to do the conference.
I think the conference has. What do you mean?
All I'm saying is it's another chunk of time that we have to take away from
what's in motion.
Yeah. To attend the conference, which is cool, but then we still have our monthly meeting.
Yeah. You guys another right after the conference. That was not my fault.
No, but either way, we would still have a working group meeting in December. So again, it's just another chunk of time, is what I mean.
Okay.
That is not us working on our actual goals, is what I mean.
I think also maybe with that like autonomy and our internal workshopping, maybe we can work that into the acre training, and that would be. Or like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't done it.
Right.
So I don't really know. I guess that's some of what I imagine, but I think there is, going back to also just acknowledging the work that has been accomplished, is also something, right? And so not that we're not doing that, but you know what I mean? Like, I kind of, yeah, I don't know where I stand on the acre training. I'm just saying, like, I think, I think change would be great and we should look into it.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry.
So really, like I said, this should, in the perfect world, if we had known about this, we would have done this first. And that's why it's such an abridged version, is because a lot of the work has already been done. And so we've cut it way, way down. But the real, like I said, the real goal is to bring in more people, because the feedback we have gotten from our working groups was that they had more productive conversations when you're hearing from people. So like even right now, you guys are asking about the tools and nobody has any suggestions about tool shares, because the right people maybe aren't in the room, or only a couple people, like obviously, like but just not, you want to hear from more people to have something that's effective, right? So that is kind of.
We need to even set an agenda to say, hey, here's what we're gonna be talking about, here's what.
And yeah, mailing that out. And I would even say, touching on that part of why, like, I think I haven't talked to anybody about it is because we don't have an established, I feel like I'm inviting them into, they're like, wait, so what are you telling me about? And it's like, oh, I'm not telling you about it. We're still figuring it out. So kind of back to like what Nicole said of like respecting their time. I think just looking into my own motivations, that's part of why I haven't maybe invited somebody else into the room, right? Is because I'm like, well, we're not really there yet.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So
but I also see your point of like, they could be part of this conversation as well.
Right. And that's kind of, and we're not asking you to invite people like now, it's more like we want you to invite people starting in January. And so this like acre facilitation could lead to the structure that you guys want. And so that's something that like we're trying to figure it out. Like you know, this is our first time doing working groups. So we tried something, people start disappearing. And so we're trying to figure out what we're doing moving forward and how we can make it better. And so that's like good feedback, is to have like internal meeting, external meeting, things like that. We've honestly just had a really big problem with scheduling, and you guys know that. Yeah. So like trying to schedule more meetings when people aren't even coming to one meeting kind of makes it, that didn't even seem like an option. But if you think that would work for everyone and people want to do that, then I think we're open to letting that happen.
That's why I was going to bring it up, because I was like, I know this sounds a good idea. Like sort of.
Or even more meetings, like the setting of the expectations, I think is what we're missing in terms of external engagement. Like if we're setting an expectation up front to say, in meeting number 1 in person, we will be laying the groundwork. We'll be working through it. We're working through the kinks. You're welcome to participate in that process. In meeting 2, maybe virtually, where we're going to present these options that we came up with in meeting 1, and we're going to get feedback, and we would love participation specifically on those, but it's having those expectations set so people know what to expect when they come, of having the opportunity to participate if they really want to be, or really feel like they have a strong opinion on how it goes. But then 2, if they're like, I don't really want to lead that, but I would love to share feedback. I know we're getting in the weeds, but I think it's the expectation, giving people that expectation so that they do have a choice of really leading the workshopping, or maybe just, hey, they want to provide feedback on what we've developed because they trust us to develop it.
Right. Okay, and maybe it's a restructuring also of like what the co-chairs are doing outside, because you guys have 10 hours of work outside of, you're supposed to have 10 hours of work outside of these meetings, and maybe that is the internal meeting, is the co-chairs coming together and creating the agenda and deciding what we're doing next, versus me doing our check-in and saying, all right, here's our agenda, this is what we're going over. So maybe that is another way that we can help do that, is you guys are creating the agendas and telling us what we're doing. And if we have time in the meetings and want to do it as a group that way, but then that's your internal meeting, and then our external meeting is our group meeting. It's up to you guys to talk to your other group member. Yeah. So this group makes it kind of difficult.
Prefer like our
right. Yeah. But I think because there's only 3 people in this group, that's why it's like, I don't care how many people.
It does feel a little bit.
Because you're the only one. Yeah. The group is small, so that's kind of the problem, is that when we want bigger groups, so that you're not feeling like you're the only one who doesn't know what's going on because you're not a co-chair. Versus I talk to them every other week, you know? Yeah. So it creates a difficult, maybe dynamic, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word.
No, I think, I totally see what you're saying though, and where some of this maybe can be solved with this acre facilitation. I don't know, but
We'll see.
we'll see.
Exactly.
We're gonna find it.
All right, so we're gonna have to get started. Let me share, resume sharing my screen. It says it's paused. I'm just gonna stop and start again. All right, thank you all online for bearing with us here. If you have any comments, we're happy to hear them. Like I said, like you guys are on speaker, so like you can always just interject whenever you have something to say. I know it feels weird and it's hard with hybrid meetings, so we're happy to, or if you write anything in the chat, let me, because this
I will chime in real quick and say I'm a major fan of quick 30 to 45-minute meetings with a very targeted agenda. And I would do those internally, maybe once every couple, maybe once bi-weekly, weekly, whatever you want to have. And then the public facing be, announcing new initiatives, activities, but also discussing current events as well. And potentially even having an SME, a subject matter expert or somebody to chat about it. Again, targeted agenda that folks know exactly what they're coming to hear, and then opportunity to speak. But it's tough. Scheduling's tough when you're going an hour. I mean, it's hard as heck to go an hour and a half or 2 hours in a meeting. Man, that's just tough. You know what I'm saying? And so, very targeted agenda, even if it's, 2 things, 3 things, do it internally, beat it down, get it done. And then when you go public, then have that already built out and done. But be very targeted with the agenda on your time and stick to the time. If you don't get to it, hey, you'll get to it next meeting. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Yeah. And oh, by the way, no meetings on Friday afternoons as well. Sorry, I have to throw that out. Yeah, let me just throw that out. Sorry. That's my old government hat coming into play.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you,
Great
Scott.
information.
Yeah,
Good
it's very
feedback.
helpful, I think.
trying to make it so that they can, so you guys can see this screen, I believe. Let me put it in slideshow. Okay, so online, can you see my, but now you guys can't see it over here. This drives me insane. Okay, so here's this, but I'm sharing this one.
Can you share your window instead of your screen?
Yes, but I think of that. Maybe 2 screens also is good enough. Okay. This is what I want you all to see. And then, okay, so you have these, everyone here, and this is the screen that we're doing. So what we're doing right now is a shared history exercise. We don't need a full 20 minutes, but nope, too big. Okay. I just don't want to go full screen because then they disappeared. Maybe not. Let's see. Nope, they're here. Okay, great. Okay, so to get into this, we have, this is, again, prescribed by Acre. We did not make this up. This is supposed to be a very long process. I want to give you a lot of time to do it. We're going to do a bridge version, like I said. So we're going to do some sticky notes. We have a shared history exercise. We want you to think about, in the last 50 years, what has gone on in the food system, and locally, on a state level, on a national level. Sticky notes. And personally, like what activated you into this space? So we'll take a couple minutes. You need a pen. If you guys want to stay here. Yeah, if you put it in the chat, I'll put it on the sticky note, and that's what I've been doing in the other group. If you online, if you want to share with us, I can put it in the chat and I'll put it on our little board back here. So I'm gonna do a primer.
You said what has changed?
Just anything that's happened. So like some of the other groups have talked about funding becoming available, funding being taken away, like big events. And then personally, like what activated you into the food system space? And yes, like I said, online, put it in the chat and I'll put it on the sticky for us. And I'll put you up there. So we're gonna take probably about 10 minutes, but if you guys finish before that, we'll move on after that.
I have one for every one of those.
That's okay.
Okay, cool.
But you can write as many as you want. Doesn't have to be everyone, and then you can Google stuff if you want.
Pick them up there.
Yeah, go and pick them up.
I know.
We actually put it down. The acre thing told you to do 100 years. And
That's
we're like,
insane.
That's too much.
That's insane.
You don't need that. Especially like Florida is not as, I don't know. I feel like some other states have a very, very, very long history where Florida does, but just.
I don't know, Quran's been kind of active up lately.
Lately?
Tell me what's up with him. What did he do?
He's just been.
No, I know, but I'm asking specifically.
Oh. You go read, what did he just do? What is that helicopter thing that's new?
Oh, the drone thing
Yeah.
where they're spraying with the mosquitoes
No,
or.
this one is it's gonna be happening in Polk County. I'm gonna pull it up, so I started
Yeah.
I'm like, are we serious? It's like a motorized, it's not manned, transportation thing, it's crazy. Cause there's so much traffic on I-4, they're testing the air, like, yes, I'm gonna find it, so I can share it.
And there's already not enough
Right.
FAA people who do it.
Oh my God. How many? I don't even want to get into
Growers were told, or producers were told to lower their prices.
Really?
You can just do that.
Yeah, just do that.
What, I always get this wrong. What is I'm not even gonna say it too, but I know Scott knows it. Is it TFAP? Where it's state money instead of going and including all from a state level. Scott, you know this, but I'm not sure what the terminology is.
Yep.
Where
Go ahead.
federal funding is designated and allocated to the state, and the state then creates basically controls that money that goes into only organizations that like Feeding America, Feeding Tampa Bay, but it's only designated organizations already predetermined due to their, what is it, TFAP status?
It's TFAP. It depends on a lot of them actually. Well, just on your basic FNS program, TFAP, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, that is, the commodities that, your in old school terms, right? Your peanut butter, your cheese, and those.
Mm-hmm.
Those are on pretty much what's called I call them cruise control. Then yes, most states take those funds and they turn around and they provide them right to the food bank system, and it distributes those. However, you also have programs like LFPA, Local Food Purchasing Act, that it was in Florida. You have Farm to Food Bank. You have many other state programs that Farm to whatever are supposed to be And from
But
USDA.
they were eliminated, except for the big TFAP.
TFAP's still going, but these other funds were eliminated. But even the challenge you had there, though, Nicole, to make your point, is that the states also just did not compete many of those grants and gave those funds directly to the food banks for them to purchase from local farmers, which some states they did, some states they did not do real well. So the challenge you have is that the states are very quick when it comes to the food assistance system, very quick to just turn over the funds directly to to the large food bank operations. A prime example is the recent 28 million that you just heard, I think, 2 months ago, announced by Secretary of Agriculture with feeding Florida and feeding Tampa Bay there. 28 million was allocated to buy fresh produce from Florida farmers. It was not competed. The state went directly to feeding Florida and feeding Tampa Bay, and they got the 28 million. In addition, there was 10 million that was also appropriated to help with infrastructure. And now those funds as well got put right to Feeding Florida for them to oversee it and recommend. So it's a real easy opportunity. We get it, but what you're doing is you're adding, too many steps in these things. Plus, as I just mentioned, there was not even a competition. Right.
So the elimination of free markets is essentially what has happened over time. And that's what I meant to say.
And they take their money right off the top. Let me be very clear about that. They take a lot. Which I will. Go ahead.
I was going to say too about that with that, the stipulation of the type, they also put a stipulation on the types of farms they can purchase from, meaning, it had to be a certain size farm. And
so this is similar to what we saw also with like the medical marijuana growing. I believe it was nurseries that were in business for 30 years or longer and things along kind of those lines.
Yeah.
It was a lottery system, but also you had to
pay a lot of money,
a good old boy, and have had a nurse. I mean, who else has had nurseries for 30 years or longer other than family run operations? I mean, I could be wrong, but from my understanding, that's a little bit of like what happened there. So,
I mean, this is really, I call it cruise control funding, and I'll just be blunt. It's laziness. You don't want to run the RFP. You just want to turn it over to the food banks and let them roll. I mean, those food banks, and one example on a FOIA that we have in Pennsylvania, food banks took one program, 1.6 million off the top. Yeah. Now that was an overall food bank in members. They took a fee as well. Okay. Now, and when you look at who purchased, what size farms they purchased from, it's not real diverse in terms of size. It's not real diverse in terms of, culture, anything of that nature. It's, and a lot of it, to be honest with you, they're purchasing surplus food. So it's surplus. So it might be dairy, it might be apples. No offense to dairy or apples, but those are surplus, and some states are surplus states. So what does it do you good to purchase surplus? So anyway, I could go on and on.
No, that's super interesting.
But it's a major challenge, and the farmers, it's like the food is medicine movement, right? Local farmers are not being kept in. Like 42% of the farmers are under 100 acres. And they're not getting the opportunity to participate in a lot of the food system programs because the food banks are the ones who operate it. Why the hell? I don't know if anybody knows this, and I posted it the other day. The farm to food bank program does not even allow the purchase of food. The regulation denies the purchase of food from a farmer. Can't do it. Farmer has to donate. And then they may get some cost given to them, for maybe help with harvesting, maybe transportation. Doesn't even equal it. In one state we looked at, about 7 cents a pound is what they get back. So imagine that. Everybody's going, oh, farm to food bank, man, the farmers are really benefiting. Oh, come on, stop.
Not so much.
So, and especially in your fresh fruit and vegetable growers as well. The good thing, I mean, there's some things going on. Milken just came out with a food as medicine study that is focusing on farmers like crazy. So there's this big movement to really make sure farmers are there. And I think we need to go to the states to tell them this is how we can get stuff done locally. Because I would tell you, SNAP is in danger, is what I'll tell you. And I can go into a whole hour, 2 hours on that. but it's in real danger, and it's going to impact every organization that helps with anybody, from health to food to homeless to you name it. It is going to have a ripple effect beyond belief. Florida may have to cough up an additional $1 billion in 2028 to just run SNAP. So anyway, I didn't mean to take that much time. Just
Thank
kind
you,
of.
Scott. Yeah, that's okay. We are a couple minutes here are up to finish writing. But if either of you guys want to go read some of our shared history, you don't have to read every single one, but just give us kind of an overview of what you're seeing up there. Yeah, like
I can just add my other one. Okay, shared history, local. I put population growth, density, overbuilding, zoning issues. It was a progression of the population growth into our region, Florida. Overbuilding created zoning issues, which created gridlock for food access and pushed people into food deserts. More focus on local food system than before. This person had a positive outlook.
That's how I feel like with Homegrown Hillsborough, like part of being a part of this.
So I was
That's
comparing to 50 years previously. I actually think, yes, we're getting there now, but for the majority of the past 50 years, mine is the total opposite.
Local farms entered into contracts removing their motivation to sell directly to retail.
So having family that grow in Plant City and things like that, and coming back from New York City where we did local markets, I asked, like, why don't you? Yeah. And he was like, well, I can pick my squash at 7 a.m. and have it all sold to Publix or by 11.
Yeah.
And so those contracts and that sort of thing are why we don't have access to things that are picked sort of that day, the day before, things along those lines, because now that is going to travel just through all of that process, right? The vendors to the
traditional supply.
Yeah, this traditional supply or the whatever. And I think if you look back to like the 70s, I don't think that was happening quite as much.
So I think maybe like the farms are moving away from local food, but the interest in local food is growing. So the farmers are moving away from it, or they've moved away from it, but there's this interest in it. Like people on a personal level interested in it.
That one on the side, Nicole, I wasn't sure where we fit.
Yeah, I didn't know what this was. See increase in more farm to table programs and beginning farmer training. I think this is local, but yeah, I mean, I think
it's gonna be happening everywhere.
It's so interesting depending on the hat you put on.
Yeah.
Like if you're the farmer hat, you've got a perspective, but if you've got a consumer hat on, there is like tailwinds. Anyway. Housing bubble encouraged, land sale, citrus screening.
So what I was saying is on the state level in the past 50 years, we had things like our citrus industry is completely gone.
Yeah.
And that comes from a couple different things. We had the canker in the 80s and we had the citrus screening. And somebody brought up to me recently, and I thought it made sense at least, that a lot of the greening came through from this housing bubble. So when it was like farmers already went through the canker, now they see this greening on the horizon, they can sell their land for a nice amount of money for development. And then when that bubble popped, a lot of that acreage of specifically citrus sat unmanaged, which helped to allow that greening virus to rapidly spread and completely kill the industry. So that's just something that I think, on a state level, that when I think about Florida, So just when I think about, the history, I guess, that's one of the big things that comes to my mind on a state level.
If I was to put on my tin hat, my foil hat, I would say that during COVID, they kind of sprayed more stuff, which helped accelerate the growth and the spread of that greening. That's just
what?
So we can't get into it. We don't have time.
Is this conspiracy?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Go to 7.
Yep.
Oh, fuck. See you later.
Just so we're talking about federal funding went to the federal funding that was allocated to the states from USDA and the rest of them prioritized food banks, which eliminated free markets. And a driver of that is that, at least in our state, is that a good portion of the country's GDP comes from Florida's agriculture industry. And so the reason why some of, at least for Florida, some of those requirements were put into place to do the feed banks, but not just stopping there, but to define what types of farms you can purchase from, was because of how much Florida's agriculture industry contributes to the U.S. GDP.
That's interesting.
So growing food insecurity, 800,000 lack adequate food access on a national level, cuts on budgets and programs, information on chemical use and long-term effects has become mainstream, food assistance program cuts, exploitation of already burdened systems.
Everyone can probably just share their personal ones. I don't know. So you don't have to read them.
You know,
Okay, maybe not. I just figured, you to don't read it.
I have. Yeah, go ahead. I can read it. Is this one you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Wanting, seeking more hands-on skills that can be shared within current and future community. Food is a basic need. Scott, attacks on federal assistance programs are very personal to him. He was raised by a single mom. Mine is that I was also raised a single mom, but I was also food insecure as a kid. And then when I became a mom, that is when my whole perspective on our food system changed into not what my future is going to be like, but what future generations are going to, my kids' future would be like.
Yeah, mine encompassed, that's why I just put it's a basic need, because it encompassed like all of that, right? It's a part of those that control the food, control everything, as well as like why it's important for everybody to have autonomy within that system. So.
Thank you. So kind of the purpose of this is for people who don't know each other as well, like this kind of brings people together to say this is stuff we all kind of either experience together or are affected by in the long term. So that's kind of the purpose of this. And maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't. Did this go back? Okay. So our next thing is going to be a shared values thing. Sorry, exercise. So we're gonna take our sticky notes. Right, and your values are like 1 word, 2 words, not don't write like a paragraph about a value. Because we kind of have this with your fellows like that's very it should be like your values are like honesty, kindness, accountability, and like there's some examples over there. And then after we put these up, we're gonna kind of see where they overlap. And if there's some spots where they don't overlap, we have something called the parking lot, which basically means that it doesn't mean that your value isn't important. It just means that it's not a shared value of the group, which is okay, but it also helps us determine our group members' motivations. So if we know that one of Georgia's like key values is friendship, but no one else says friendship. I don't know. Sorry, I was trying to pick one that like we wouldn't talk about. Fine. I was like, but like then you know that like I'm trying to connect to you on a personal level because friendship is important to me, and not because I'm being like weird or anything. You know, like sorry, I was like that's you're just saying.
It's true, yeah.
So
be your friend.
We'll take another 10 on this one, maybe less. But yeah, write as many as you want, and then we kind of are going to group them together and see if we can create like one word that encompasses the ones that are similar. If that makes sense. We'll group them. Yeah.
So when you say personal versus social, can you give me an example?
So like a personal.
So I wrote down equity under personal, now I see it on social.
I was like, and sometimes they can move. Like the way that they're separated is just kind of to give you like some categories to put things into, because when we go to put them together, it doesn't matter what category they're in. So don't think too hard on that. But like personal, like would be like your relationship. I don't know this. I'm just thinking of some from our other groups. Like somebody put like their relationship to God is like very important to them. That's personal. Whereas like social would be more like, you know, what are the examples? Things like how we interact with each other. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so social is like how we interact with each other.
It's 1 word per.
I mean, you can write 2 words, or if it's like a statement or something, but like not like someone.
But I mean, like 1 value per.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to try to put them together in the boxes, and then we're gonna group them together. Yeah, so they have to be separate.
And I don't know if I spelled this word right. It's really right out there, but
Sorry, I was like, the way my handwriting is not good. And I apologize. Thanks, Scott. We appreciate your contributions.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, thank you.
I was trying to last time, like everyone, I was like trying to write their stuff as they were putting it in like the chat.
Yeah.
And of course, they're like the last ones because they're typing it up, and then I'm like, wait, guys, we're not ready yet. They're in the chat. I have to get their sticky notes.
The chat.
Chat is valuable. We appreciate people online. Yeah, like Mel already did this with the other group, so I was like, oh, you don't need to be on here.
oh, she left already too.
Yeah, Sheila, she's a two. Something else. I was like, she already did it with.
Did Charlene leave already too?
Yeah, she left.
Okay.
Someone else, I think. Write stuff in the chat.
Oh, her kids are it's probably lunchtime for them too.
See, I recognized her face, but her hair was long in that photo,
Mhm.
and her hair was short on
Oh,
Saturday.
yeah.
So I was like,
And her
her
hair
hair-
look all the way, and I was like, oh, it's Mel, and I was like, wait, that's not Mel.
What time that her hair was always covered. So Saturday was my first time seeing her actual hair.
oh my
It's
God.
normally wrapped up.
Yeah,
And I've known her for 3 years.
Right.
that is so funny. I hadn't seen Monica during like the pandemic, and I used to dye my hair was like the color of Nicole's. And then I like got on a Zoom call or something during the pandemic times, and she was like, "Oh, your hair," and I was like, "Oh yeah," like that was actually just a short period of time. You just met me during that time, you know?
I used to have like super short hair for like 2 years, and then I feel like, oh my God, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh
I had super long hair forever, so it's funny.
All right, I'm kind of out of
Grape
Post-its
juice?
and juice.
I was like, there's one other.
No, I mean I got a couple more, but I was like, it's not like I'm.
Got 6 minutes on the timer.
It's so funny and hard to drill it and nail it down into like a one word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Or for me to like even just separate them, I think.
I think it's because that's how my brain processes. The simpler the better, and the more I can probably retain it.
Yeah. I think for me it's just hard to break it down into like personal, economic, social, environmental.
That's okay. I was like, the categories are less.
Because it's like,
Yeah, don't worry too much about
yeah, I stopped doing that.
Just throw them up there.
Oh, you want to throw them on the side?
Oh, no.
Oh.
I just bet Georgia has her pile of sticky notes. So just have a
Yeah.
time cord.
What?
The C-type cord.
Do you need one?
I do.
No,
Mine's
it's
plugged in right there. There's nothing plugged into me.
Right. Okay.
Value.
Come on. Okay, so what if I don't have a category necessarily?
So you just throw it on whatever feels close enough.
Yeah.
I
like,
wish
we
I
kind
could put so many more up here.
Listen, you got a couple more minutes. Write as much as you want. The more, the better. Helps us get a better understanding.
Okay.
I guess these are my personal ones.
That's fine. That's okay.
They're all personal.
Everything's.
Yeah, everything's personal.
Do we feel good?
Let's do it.
All right. So if you guys wanna, and honestly, all three of you can really kind of keep in. So kind of put them into categories. So like put things together that you think go together. So let's see. We have like respect and care for our ecosystem and conservation. Like those probably can be grouped together, right? So you can put those together. Stewardship, would you put stewardship with conservation and respect and care for our ecosystem?
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. What about sustainability and resiliency? Put it all together, I think. We have equity, diversity, choice, shared economics, building community, transparency, tenacity, fairness, opportunity to make a living, affordability. Do you think maybe stability goes along with this?
Yeah.
Ability to make a living.
Yeah, that's part of, yeah. Social stability is economics.
Tenacity, shared economics, equity, diversity, choice, accountability, transparency. Do you think maybe transparency and accountability are together, or maybe not?
Yeah, I mean, I think they can go hand in hand, yeah. So you can't have accountability without transparency.
True.
They don't all have to go together. Like, so there is a parking lot. I just didn't want to waste another piece of paper to do it.
And I think like equity and choice,
Okay.
right? So
No, I wrote choice in terms of independence, in terms of like having the
I think that's kind of what I'm thinking with the equity is like that if everyone's voice is better heard, then there is that but like
So
I see
I was
also the
thinking
separation.
not necessarily of someone's voice, but more so what am I trying to do? Like choice, like I don't know.
Like rights, freedoms,
Agency.
like
Like agency. I don't know how you
I think
choice.
I mean
So they don't have to go together.
yeah, they don't have to.
Maybe I should have put
Like,
agency.
should maybe
That's fine.
with stability and affordability.
Maybe, but I guess with affordability.
They don't have to, like you said.
But
Change it. What about like building community? Would we add that?
I feel like that. I would like to know. I'd like for you to expand on shared economics.
It's literally like going to Sam's Club and buying 50 pounds of meat, and then we split the cost of that, and each household gets their portion of that bulk item.
So I feel like that's building community and shared economics. Do you think those go together?
Yeah, I was trying to get it down into the individual.
No.
About loosey gooseys, we got curiosity, tenacity, diversity, and choice.
I said tenacity. It's just been what I feel like no matter what, and because I put it in personal, because no matter what kind of obstacles come my way, I feel like I keep going, bounce back, overcome. That's kind of why that's my
I see that. I think while it's a good value, I do think it's probably going to be like a parking lot value, right? Like I agree with it, but I just don't know how it like fits.
Curiosity.
My purpose around that is in like understanding that my experience isn't maybe the next person's experience, and just that openness and of I don't know, just acceptance maybe, or willingness to explore, understand another person's experience.
Do you think that would go more with equity?
Lived experience or something? Yeah.
Yeah. To me, they're all choice, curiosity, equity. To me, that's like at least the spirit of what I was going
Do
for.
you think maybe choice belongs with these two?
I mean, this is me, but I don't think that they
I
necessarily.
do too, from like a pillar,
Yeah.
like having agency, and I don't know.
So now actually
So
the
hard
only
to.
thing that's not group thing, and then do we think any of these smaller ones can go into the bigger groups? Because now
What's that one that's left over there?
diversity. So diversity could, I don't know, what do you guys think? It could fit into the
Under shared economics and building community.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Which
Yeah, I
again
do
is
too.
like a good equity for me. Everything kind of came back to equity, if that makes sense, right? So, but that's
So when you think of equity, what does equity mean to you? Like, does it mean equity in, there's obviously different types of
Right. I know that's why
So
my
I know, I'm so analytical.
opposite of D's, where I distill down to where I'm like, it's just this one word, that's it. But like equity to me, so on a social, economic, environmental level, is including everyone's voices, right? So understanding their perspectives, sharing resources in a way that makes sense, right? They're not siloed into one area, one food bank, whatever. But like even when you said that, I was like, I mean, I think that's kind of how the world's actually just supposed to work. And again, this is where I say like my brain kind of gets really focused in on like equity is the problem. We're not, and like with equity comes diversity, right? You can't be equal without being different, right?
Right.
Otherwise you're just the same, and that's not really equal. That's sameness. So yeah, I mean, it's just, again, over analytical, I think, but
Yeah, same.
so I try to put more things up there, but I think like all of that kind of comes back to that equity, or you know what I mean, like this transparency, all of that kind of leads back to the same thing. If that answers your question for like what it means to me, it means like enough for everybody.
I thought those were going on that.
So this is this is kind of, that gave us a background of our shared values, and I keep them here for you so you can look at them. But we want you to try to everyone make your own shared vision, and then we'll try to kind of join them together to make a working group shared vision. And so this is a little bit wider than your original like statement that you guys, or your description, I think, your working group definition. But we could revisit that if that's something you want to look at. But basically, it's not an operational goal that can be achieved, but it's the ideal that guides the project over the long term. So what would you like the next generation to say about what you've achieved as a community? And so that can be like a sentence.
Personally, I feel like that's pointless, because the homegrown Hillsborough vision is the shared vision.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then I also, I think, I don't know, there's something about that like ego conversation we had the other day that this kind of question, I guess, hits for me, that I don't like, if that makes sense. But I see that's not really like the goal of the question, but I do kind of agree with you. Like we're all here based on those homegrown Hillsborough, and since we're a part of it, do we want to get more specific, like in reference to food production and not just agricultural community?
Do you want to just take your definition from, which was helping local producers overcome challenges, making it easier to grow and sell food in our community? Is that the vision that you see, or is it more like, I can tell you what economic developments was, food access didn't get to it.
I feel like a lot of our stuff is going to align with maybe food access, because that's also the space that we're all working in, right? None of us are exclusively producing as our main. So yeah, that could be a little bit hard, because it's almost like what you said earlier, like maybe the right people, not that the right people aren't in the room, but like,
enough of the right people,
right? Like we want to, the basis of us wanting to support food production is for better access, I think, right? At least
Access to markets.
local food and to, right? So I think at least that's something I feel like I've been noticing in what we're doing is like, yes, it's about food production, but at the base of it, like, especially I know with like what Dee and I do, it's a lot more about that community, and that community is about people accessing information to have better food sovereignty. And then with that information, accessing the food itself. Right. So like,
yeah,
I would say almost that's something that we should look at with our group name or dynamic or things like that. And just doesn't mean we have to change what we're doing or our goals, but maybe just acknowledge that this is a sector of food access, and maybe economic development is as well. But because none of us are, you know what I mean, like full on producing and having a like for-profit that does only that, like Meacham or something, right?
I
And
have 95 pounds of lettuce growing right now, but you know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. And there are very few organizations that are, and those people do not tend to be
In the community.
In the community,
Yeah.
for various reasons, I think. But that is just something I think, like looking at that shared vision and sort of values, right? I think like we're here all for very similar values of equity and control of the food system, things like that. But I would say like overall, at least for me, something I've been looking at and through, like all of our talks about the goals and the grants and everything and how all the groups mesh together. Truly, I think a lot of this comes down to food access, which is a huge portion of the food system, really, right? So anyways, I would say like as far as the marks we want to leave and what our vision is, maybe starting to like define that through that lens of like, okay, so how do we want to do this through the producer lens?
Sorry, I don't know how to turn the vibrate off. I'm sorry.
What?
Oh, is it? No worries. I can't hear it. Yeah, so yeah, I was like, I don't think that's on topic. Yeah, so
I feel like I need time to think about this.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's also been something that's been hard in some of these meetings is that we're presented with some pretty big questions, right? It's nice to workshop it in a group setting, but I think there's also like a big part of that, like with coming up with our goals and things like that at the beginning of this whole process that I have felt a lot of times like,
Rushed.
Yeah, rushed, or at least just like, I have a lot of opinions on this and I'm going to need to take some time to like distill down what's relevant, what's not, what makes sense. Does that track? Yeah.
It's attainable.
Yeah, what's attainable? What is our vision?
And I think we're having a hard time here is like, we can put a vision for the moon and the sky, but like, what is really realistic? Like, and so I'm trying to figure out something. Like, I think we could put a vision together that encompasses that, but work on a specific element of that.
Yeah.
So then you guys can do it next meeting, but you have to think about it before the next meeting.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
So we'll
about
table it. And like I said, the other working group didn't get to it either, so we can do that in the next meeting.
So can we make it specific and measurable?
I don't think that's the point of it.
No. I
So,
just
like,
was saying, like, so as far as thinking about it, though, wouldn't we all come back though with maybe like at least 1 to 2 statements on our shared vision?
I'm ready in mind.
That's fine. Remember,
You have it already. You're good.
We're doing homegrown over thing. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I
I
have
just
to
think it
agree.
needs to be a little bit more specific to your working group. Otherwise, like George was saying, we're all food access. Then why do you have 3 working groups? If everything is related to food access, maybe it's food access through this lens or through that lens, but then why do we?
But like, to me, the reason why we need to find ways for barriers to be removed is because those producers or producers in general having a hard time finding sales channels to be able to afford those tools. So now we're reacting to the root problem by creating a tool share system, by helping with business resources, by doing all these things. That's not the root problem. The root problem is sales channels, or like, where are those channels that they can sell and profit and make a living and afford, not just like a general, like, so to me, if I'm thinking about our shared vision statement, one, I think vision statements are just kind of like, what's the point? But if it's an action statement, I can think of like, we need to figure out a way to connect producers and consumers.
Maybe that's the shared vision. Just keep it that simple. I'm a simple girl. I talk about that.
Yeah.
Less words, the better. Because if a 5th grader can understand it, it can actually get done.
Then it's
So if we just
then it's
say,
successful. You can talk to people.
Yeah, so that's to me like, and we keep coming back to that.
And I think that's just it. You just leave it at that.
We keep
So
coming
write
back.
that down. Write that down. You're sticking on it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, you can add more to it.
Revisit it.
Yeah, because I mean, I
can
could
take
even
a little extra time.
I can break down yours further into like
But
well,
yes.
there's economic equity, so not everyone can afford to pay what food
Right.
actually costs or whatever.
Right. The actual cost.
But I think
Where to start.
going back to our original, I don't have it right in front of me. Do you have it, Savannah? Of like the working group goals, right? So our goals are to sort of take down some of those barriers so that food producers can be, right?
Your definition was helping local producers overcome challenges, making it easier to grow and sell food in our community, with the priority areas being education and career training / transition to workforce.
Yeah, and I think for me at least, when we came up with that, one of my first thoughts was like, maybe I'm in the wrong group, because I was thinking like really economic development is at the heart of that. In my opinion, right? Like it's not that people don't want to afford it or whatever, or don't want to pay for it. It's like they can't. So
Savannah, where in the drive? I'm sorry, Ruth.
no, go ahead.
Where in the drive is that document that you look at all the time? Like I see you use it.
It's
all the time.
on Canva, actually,
Canva.
not in the drive.
Under resources also.
But I would
it
like
pops up
a PDF in the drive.
Me
Okay.
too.
So it's easier
I
to
think
follow.
there might be somewhere.
So here's what I put you guys. We need to figure out a way to
Yes.
connect producers to sales channels / consumers.
And
We
funding
can change it.
or funding opportunities. Because I think,
Same thing.
yeah. Because I think
Funding.
that's great, but
Profit.
yeah, profit. We need to find
Find
a way
increase
of making
through sales channels, funding, or barrier removal.
Awesome.
I don't know.
I think it's great, which is very similar to what we said before.
Then that works.
Yeah.
And we can take that.
Sorry.
Um,
I was looking at you.
I know, I was like,
taking my head.
yeah, no, I could see something was happening, and that's why I was like, is that something in agreement?
We're about at time here. I just
Yeah.
want to kind of give you a preview of our next meeting, what the plan is to do there. When we finish this, we can revisit this a little bit. But this one, we want to look at a stakeholder analysis and kind of brainstorm who you would want to be in your working group. Like I said, with that kickoff meeting of 20 attendees outside of the leaders, we want to recruit from the network. Who do you guys want to be talking to in your working group meetings? Maybe that's the public meeting or whatever, but like voices would you benefit from hearing from in your working group? And how can we get them to show up or get them to contribute in some way? Maybe they can't come, but they can send you an email or something. I don't know. Get creative.
So is that's a deliverable?
No, this is kind of a prepare yourself. This is what we're doing next month. So if you want to
See, this I feel like I could
brainstorm.
answer right.
That's great.
Yeah.
But like some people, like, they're not as connected or they haven't been in this space as long, so they kind of wanted to give them a heads up, like start
Yeah.
thinking about it, or figure out how to,
Do you want the actual people or like the type of people?
Yeah, because I was just gonna say
the
types.
actual people.
No, they want us
Oh,
targeting
yes.
actual
Yes, we
people
need
that
actual
you're gonna
people
reach
that-
out to come to the summit.
Yes.
But then
We want them to
we
come.
come back to the same challenge. I'm not gonna reach out to somebody without our core framework situated, because that then puts
But that's what
me
we're
or
doing these
anybody
next
else.
2 meetings is getting that core framework, and that's why we're creating a shared vision and then creating a project work plan. We want these people's opinions for your work plan, because who's doing the work? That's what we're talking about.
Do you mean you want those, like the whole suggestions of our work plan, like for our work plan? I wasn't sure what you said.
It's okay. I was like, the work plan is we kind of started a little bit in December, but we want to finish it with everyone's voices. So in January, that would kind of be part of the Acre Summit would be doing that work plan. If you do the Acre thing, like the way they want you to do it, they want you to have a work plan and then just bring it to people and be like, all right, guys, who wants to do what work? But we think that it would benefit to the people who are doing the work to have a say in what goes into
Yeah,
the
I see what
work.
you're saying. I
Keep
think
it
that's a lot of
realistic,
what we kind of talked about earlier.
Right.
And also now I'm remembering where you said a lot of the legwork has been done.
Right, like a lot of, and we should,
What do you say?
these are meant to be like hours-long activities. Like we knew you didn't need to spend that much time on these. And like this, you're supposed to go through and like give a title to each one. And so your group has your values, but like, I think we're pretty established and Same
Yeah.
thing, like the vision it didn't take long. You wrote on a sticky note and we can kind of perfect it next time.
Yeah, I think if we, I know we're at time, but I think if we want to get a real analysis, I think we're missing, and keep coming back to this, so just kick me out if you're tired of hearing it. I think we are missing a core type of stakeholder in the network. And so when we go back to saying, oh, who would you invite from the network?
I need the people with the money.
And they don't have to be in the network right now.
Yeah, so to me, that's what I'm saying, like, I think there's a different.
And also they show up and they always kind of take control, I feel like, as well.
But when I think of a stakeholder, I think of someone that can add value to.
So I'm thinking of people that are on Facebook groups that are dedicated, like those groups are in Tampa locally, that group is about buying local food. And these are people who value that food. They value the price of the food. They value supporting local businesses. And so I'm thinking of like that type of stakeholder of like the if you think about, there's something that I want to share with you guys, and I'll just put it here real quick because it's something that I came back from the whatever it is. I may not have it in here, but it's like, who is your ideal buyer? It's right here. What do they like to do? How do they like to communicate? Where do they hang out?
I think
what type of personality? What do they do for fun? What other products or brands do they consume? What are their ultimate desires? Like identifying that buyer type and targeting that group for local producers, to me, is like would be invaluable in terms of like a type of stakeholder to bring into the conversation. They value local food. They value growers. They value nutrition, and they're willing to pay for it. Stuff like that. And this is going to be part of my report, but you can make a copy of this, or I can upload it.
Whatever. Cool. And the other thing I would say is,
or you guys can take a picture.
In phase 1 or 2 of Homegrown, there was already conversations with producers, right? So we should have access to that information, which further, I think, just kind of supports what Nicole is saying, that the information we don't have, right? The opinions we don't have access to right now.
That's the missing link.
Is that. And so ideally, we would see these meetings populated with a combination, right, of consumers, producers, and sort of being that conduit for them to communicate or hear each other, right? Like
how do we,
like we're helping consumers to understand the challenges that producers are having, so that maybe there's some more grace and leniency or understanding of why things are not necessarily as convenient as Amazon.
But not all consumers. Our ideal consumers.
Our specific consumers that we want.
But we want to
that are already engaged.
That are our ideal market.
Like, how do we keep them engaged?
But then also too, as an example, this is one very easy example. No, we're over, you guys. Good Roots up in Washington or wherever, they were putting out lockers in the community in food desert areas, and they called upon local producers to put your food in there, and then we'll create some kind of purchasing system or whatever. They did that. It was not successful on the first go around. Food continued to just sit there. People weren't accessing it, whatever, even though it was in the ideal location. And what they found was that it wasn't the right time. Like, it wasn't open for access at the time that the consumer needed. So now they've shifted to a 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. access point, right? Where now that's when they can purchase, or that's when they can access it. And so when I think about the ideal consumer, there could be what it sounds like a simple token around potentially your time of sale that could be bridged by having them in the conversation.
I think I'm thinking that too. I'm thinking of it
about how yesterday you said something about how they're not going to eat it unless it's chopped up in, and it sounds so simple, but it's about choice and preference.
And you only know that by having them in the room or talking to them.
Yes.
And I was thinking the same thing that you were saying. My initial like focus was on things like packaging, branding.
Yeah.
Do they want it? Does it need to look more like Whole Foods, or do they want it to look like a farm?
Right.
You know what I
Totally.
mean? Things like
And
that.
do
Like
they want,
what?
do they want freeze dried? Do they want dehydrated? Do they want it powdered? Do they want it whole?
Do they need it to last longer?
Yeah.
Like, do they need it to be able to bring it in the car with them?
Right.
Yes. Is it convenience? Is it nutrition? Is it whatever? I think that's a
So
great
many
point.
dynamics.
And something that we could then bring to producers,
Yeah.
including small producers like us in the room, you know, and say like, hey, this is what we're seeing. Is there a way that we can get there?
Well, the nice part about doing something like that or having that like mindset around it, and identifying that that's our missing link is that it provides value to that consumer, to that buyer, and it also provides value to the producer. So it's not just a one way.
Yeah.
How can we do better? Serve, you know, how can we make more money? You know, how
Yeah.
can we, you know, or how can we make things more affordable? Everyone's gonna say free,
Right.
or premium, you know, but having some value add like that, right? Where you're like, okay, yeah, you know what? I could shift my time to this time, or I can package that up for you so that it can be more
Or
mobile,
even just being the conduit for,
you know?
for that conversation of farmers. I'm just
Totally.
thinking of like
That's how
somebody
you
who's like, hey,
build
I'm up
trust.
at 5 a.m.
how you
I
build
can't be there at 5 p.m. You know, and finding out what that actual issue is to be able to begin to solve it.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we have to do our meeting ratings before we leave.
Oh, yes.
To. No, I'm just kidding.
I like that you looked right at me, and also I was like, I was like, wait.
So, thank you. I was like, you can just pile up. Sorry. Easy to collect. No worries. For participation, did people participate? 1 through 5, Nicole?
I always struggle. We're grading ourselves that are here, right?
No, we're grading.
I think it's a grading of the meeting. Like, were people who were part of the meeting
5.
participating?
4. Yeah, 4.
Achievement, what did we accomplish for achievement? 1 through 5. Nicole?
1.
Eve?
Based on the agenda, I would say 4.
Based on the agenda.
Hold on, I've looked at the agenda, but yeah. Well, we didn't get to the last thing, so I'm gonna go with 3.
People focused and mindful. Nicole?
5.
5, yeah.
Did we stick to our agenda and use our time wisely? Nicole?
I'm gonna say 4.
I'm going to 3.
Oh man, this one's hard. I don't know.
I know I was late.
Because we had that little campaign in the middle, that's kind of what threw me that.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I just keep copying D with 3. So that's why I keep saying damn it, is because I'm like, oh. Well, yeah, or like, you know, I'm like, oh, she made this point.
This was, stop recording here.